video, I'll try to find the length of the longest contiguous subarray matching zeros and ones. Problem statement. The input is an array A, and the output is the length of the longest subarray matching zeros and ones. For example, when the input is 11001111, the output is 6, so the length of the longest array of zeros and ones, of matching zeros and ones, is 6. Because there's 3 ones and 3 zeros, it qualifies as one of the possible outputs. And because this has the longest length, it will return 6. For another example, when the input is 0, the output is 0 because there are no matching zeros and ones. For an application, it will visit every element in the array, and if it sees a 0, it will decrement some by 1. And if it sees 1, it will increment some by 1. Once some is 0, it means there are matching zeros and ones, so that means there's a contiguous subarray found. So that means, so the longest subarray, ls, is index plus 1. So when sum is 0, the way you'll see how the length of that contiguous subarray is, it will see if the index plus 1 is bigger than ls. In this case, it found a contiguous subarray over here with 0 and 1. So, and the length is 2, and because 2 is bigger than 0, you'll see that. Once it sees the whole thing having sum of 0, meaning it's a contiguous subarray, then it will return 4 because 4 is bigger than 2, and the length of this is 4. For another observation, when sum is seen before, that means it's matching zeros and ones in the array, so let's check if it's the longest. It could use a hash, h in this case, to check if sum is seen. The key, the first one is sum, and the value, this is the index. So in this case, it sees 1 at index 0, so in the hash, it will have 1 being key, and then value being the index 0. And then it sees sum being 1 again, so because it's seen again at index 2, that means there's a contiguous subarray, and to find the length of that contiguous subarray, it will do the index the second time sum has been found, and minus the index the first time the sum has been found. So in this case, the length is 2, being 1, 0. Algorithm illustration. Function contiguous subsequence takes the input of A, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, and when it tries, and the output is the longest contiguous subarray, and it only tries H to be an empty hash, sum to be 0, and ls to be 0. ls stands for longest subarray. It'll go through a for loop, which will go through A, the array, and because A is 0, it decrements sum by 1, and so because sum is not 0, it's negative 1, it will not go in this if statement, and because sum is not in H, it will not go in this else statement, so it will add it to H. When I is 1, AI is 1, so it will increment sum by 1. Because sum is 0 after doing that, it will see the index of, which is I, so I plus 1 because it counts 0 as an index, and I doesn't count 0 as an index, so it needs to add 1 because of that, so 2. So because 2 is bigger than 0, it will now make that ls. So now make ls 2. Because when I is 2, sum is 1, because AI is 1, so I'll make sum 1 by incrementing sum, and because sum is not 0, not going in this statement, and because sum is not in nature, not going in that else statement, so I'll add it to hash. The hash. So now the hash has sum 1, index 2. When I is 3, AI is 0, so decrement sum by 1. And because now that sum is 0 after doing that, it will go in that if statement. And because I being 3 plus 1 is 4, which is bigger than 2, it will change ls to be 4. When I is 4, AI is 1, and because sum is not 0, because it increments sum by 1, will not go in that if statement. Because it isn't hash, it will see if the length is bigger. Because last time I found 1 was at index 2, and this time I found 1 was at index 4, I'll do 4 minus 2, which is 2, and because 2 is not bigger than 4, it will keep ls at 4. when I is 5, it will decrement sum by 1 because AI is 0, and because now that sum is 0, it will see if ls is now bigger than now that if the index plus 1 is bigger than the old ls, and because 5 plus 1 is bigger than 4, it will change ls to be 6. When I is 6, because AI is 1, it will increment sum by 1, and because sum is not 0 anymore, it will not go in that if statement, and because sum is in hash, it will go in that else statement, and because 6 minus 2, which is 4, is not bigger than 6, it does not change ls, so I'll stay 6, and because now that's gone through the whole array, it will go out of the for loop and return ls, and ls is 6, so the output is 6. The end.